Mic's on.
Mike's on.
Mic is on. You guys don't have to turn yours on.
Ready. We'll call the workshop to order. Julie, has anyone signed up for public input? They have not. Next item on the agenda for the workshop is an OPEB update from Superintendent Gross.
All right, while Julie is pulling that up, other post-employment benefits is one of the things that our board has talked about for its goals and aims for the year, coming up with and executing on a plan. And I just wanted to give the board an update on where we're at with in that process. So some of this information you may have seen before, but it's complicated. It takes me a couple times to run through it. And so Kara, if there's anything that you see that's like updated, please just jump in, please, yeah. So quickly, here we go, Julie. It's not working again. It's so weird. It literally was just working right before the meeting. It's almost like because that we're in the Google Meet, it's not working. I wonder if that has anything to do with it. Oh. Oh, now it's working. Now it's working. Okay, we just needed to prime the pump here a little bit. All right, so just some background again. OPEB, post-employment benefits other than pensions, generally take the form of health insurance or other health care benefits, and these kinds of benefits were offered to people for many years in education and other industries, especially in this region. So that's what they are, how we got, how we came to this place. Our liability can be thought of in two ways. First of all, what we pay each year in retiree benefits. The second thing is our overall liability, which is the value of everything we currently owe and everything that we're potentially going to owe. So those two things, when we use the word liability, come into play, both now and in the future, essentially. We have to have an actuarial valuation done. And during that process, an actuary does what they do. They look at future estimates and assumptions and come up with values based on what they believe the liability is for the school district. Those used to be required every other year. The first one, this first kind of kicked off when we were required to implement GASB 45 back in 2007. What GASB are we on now, Kara? Do you remember? Oh my goodness. So we're up to GASB 101, if that gives you any sense of how, what's changed since then. When we're talking about this group, we're talking about people that are some under 65, some 65 and older, so that changes who is Medicare eligible or who isn't. We can be talking about both those groups, and that affects what benefits they're entitled to. You can see the numbers here, how this plays out in our school district with the retirees covered and also total lives or total people covered. Annually, we pay about $5.5 million in retiree health benefits, and our last estimated liability was over $126 million.
When was that from?
As of June 30th, 2025.
Thank you.
How do we stack up? We shared this earlier, or I shared this earlier when we were talking about this. We have had one of the largest OPEB liabilities in the state, going back to when this was, the state started tracking it. If you look at documents from the state auditor's office, when they ran the legislation, we were in the top 10, maybe the top 5 even for liability compared to operating expenses or operating revenues. This really affected school districts in 2008 when the state passed a law that enabled school districts and other municipalities to establish trust to pay benefits from. And in some ways, as we're going through this process and working through where we're at now with people, the establishment of a trust is a complicated thing for people. People understand paying bills as you go, which was another option, and other districts even in our region chose that route. But establishing a trust is a complicated way to go through this. A lot of districts did that, establish trusts, but it can be a complicated thing to sort of understand. The other, or one of the other things that legislation did was it authorized municipalities like ours to bond for the liabilities, and to do so exempted from voter approval. So selling bonds is how we borrow money. And that remained in effect until October 2009. I'll probably mention it again later, but one of the questions that we get asked often is, given the current circumstance, why doesn't the district just issue bonds and form another trust? The law that gave us the authority to do that expired, or the authority to do that under that law expired. So we couldn't do that right now in the same way, even if we wanted to. Many districts took advantage of this. We had to do a number of things. We had to have these actuarial liabilities done. We had to sunset retiree health provisions. In our school district, when we had this initial actuarial liability determined, it was over 58 million, you can see, 18 years ago. We established an irrevocable trust, and there were two types of trust, revocable and irrevocable, and that just changed what could happen at the end of the trust, or if there was funding left in the trust, what could happen there in terms of board action. The school district at the time issued $35 million in bonds, so it borrowed $35 million essentially to fund the trust in May. That's when our school board and school district took advantage of this law. So again, significant, and this is really what plays out in our situation now in a way that's challenging, is that we did not issue the full $58 million in bonds. And we began sunsetting retiree health benefits and contracts back then, and have made, I think, progress on all fronts here, maybe with one or two exceptions.
How long did it take us to complete the sunset?
I'm not sure. I think I know even in my time here, I feel like we've gotten one more out. So it's been a lengthy process. Casey, do you have anything to add to that? Like how long it took to retire?
There was a few contracts, 2 cycles ago that still had individuals that were sunsetted.
How do trusts like this work? I don't know if I'm a visual learner, but things like this help me. So, and this helped some others when I explained it this way. When these trusts are established, essentially we establish a trust, which is a bucket. It doesn't have anything in it until money gets put there. It just creates a vehicle. The district sells bonds or borrows money to fund the trust, and so I purposefully made this trust half full because that's about how much money we put into it. A little bit more than half, but that trust earns interest because there's money sitting in an account, and then we pay OPEB costs out of that trust, so that $4 million or $5 million or whatever our actual costs were that year, the trust is paying those costs. But, and this is the part I think that people don't remember, is that in step 2 we borrowed money to fund this trust, and we have to pay that back. So we also have to levy to make those annual bond payments. One of the benefits of selling bonds and funding a trust like this is you can structure your debt and make predictable payments. If you were an entity that went pay-as-you-go, that could go up and down every year depending on what your retiree costs were that year. And when you're talking about $4 or $5 million, even a 5 to 8% variability is a lot of money. So one of the advantages is to be able to structure your debt and have consistent payments. So that's what happens when you fund a trust like this. One of the questions that we get asked was, well, didn't our trust earn any interest? Well, our trust has paid out about $52 million in health premiums since its inception. If you think about the fact that we sold $35 million in bonds, clearly there was a bunch of interest that was earned, and because we paid out much more than the amount that we sold.
That's about where the liability was at that time.
Pretty
It's
close.
pretty
Yeah,
close,
yeah,
wasn't it?
yeah. So if nothing would have changed, our situation probably would have been much better. Yeah. I mentioned before that we earned interest on the trust. We also paid interest on money they borrow, like we would expect. We funded 53% of the estimated liability, and the trust will be depleted in the next 1 to 3 months. We talked about this previously last spring. We said 6 to 8 months. We're still kind of in that spot. It's unique because when we're, or when Kara's working through funding, because our general fund plays into this, there can be a little bit of variability there, but our trust will be depleted in the next 1 to 3 months. Why is our trust running out? That was a question that came up quite often. I would say that the number one reason is that it was never fully funded from the start. It was set up with approximately 53% of the estimated liability in it. Some other factors: health insurance costs have increased at a rate not predicted by anyone and much faster than interest earnings. And I have a chart here that will illustrate that. So this takes a look at July 1, 2007, July 1, 11, July 1, 15, July 1, 2020, July 1, 6/30/2025. Okay, so you can see here what premiums looked like 18 years ago. For under 65, single was $399, family $985, over 65, single $208, family $527. Fast forward to now, that under 65 single is almost $1,200. That under 65 family is almost $3,000, $615 and $1,561 for the over 65. That's an increase of almost 200%. So that's obviously a huge increase in healthcare costs, outpacing estimates. These represent trends. I'm not sure why in the chart that we got they ended up flipping around, but 5 to 10%, 5 to 9%, 5 to 7.2, and ours were obviously running higher than that. You can see at the bottom our actuarial liability. There's that 58.6 at the very beginning in 2007. 4 years later, it's almost 100 million. 122 million, 125 million, 126 million, and that is while we've been paying and while people have been retiring. We've been adding people into the pool. Some people have been coming off, but that's also a huge factor in this, the scale to which our liability's gone up. That's increased by 115%.
When we did the bonds in 2009.
Yep.
Right? How many years was the payback on those? Or, are those still, when did the taxpayers quit seeing it on their tax roll? Do we know?
Came off our tax roll this year.
So they sunset it at the same time we're broke on it too, right? We got double whammy on it.
Mm-hmm.
But okay.
Well, and really it's good that they did, otherwise we'd be double paying.
Well,
about that, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's
Yep.
good. It's not stretching
Right,
out.
yes,
Because now we'd be
right,
paying for
yes.
something we don't even have.
That's correct.
That money that's gone.
That's right. That's exactly right. Yep. Yep.
At least,
Yeah, that's exactly right.
at least we're paying till it was completely depreciated.
Right,
You got
yes.
a car that you paid for and it's dead when you
That's right.
got
Yeah,
done paying.
we
for
don't.
it,
Yeah,
right?
we're not in that spot. That's a good thing.
Matt, can you go back a slide?
Mhm.
Do we have any sort of projections for the future for our liability?
I'm not aware of any. Are you?
I only see it increasing.
Sure. Right. Yes, yeah, okay, thanks.
I don't remember the number. I know that we determined it at one point, the number of current employees that are eligible for retiree under their contracts, but I can't remember. Okay, that was gonna be, okay, that was gonna be the number but I didn't wanna say. So about 70 people are still waiting to get into our retiree pool.
Which will then increase this.
Yep, which will increase this, yep.
Yeah, so, yeah.
So the number of retirees is higher than estimated. You can see this change over time too, over almost 100 more than back in 2008. And again, with 70 more able to go on. People are living longer, and you know, we got some pushback on this item during one of our meetings. The reality is, it's true. Even if it's a small factor, when you're talking about numbers that are, you know, 8 digits or 10 digits or 9 digits, even a small percentage can affect a 8-digit or 9-digit number a lot. And then the original estimates had retirees paying a higher percentage of the obligation than what has played out. So back to what happens now. We've been paying for these bonds. We've been funding the payment with the trust. We have to shift to a pay-as-you-go model. Again, other school districts and municipalities did that right out of the gate. That was a choice that municipalities had. And so we'll be levying for actual annual costs of the benefits every year, rather than levying for the payment. So I know that I've heard some conversation about, well, the district can still levy for it. Yep, we absolutely can. We absolutely will. Previously, we were levying for payments on the bond that funded the trust. Now we'll be levying for the actual annual costs of the benefits.
But we're always a year behind, correct?
That's right.
So as that differential increases, we're always a year behind and losing future value, you know,
Right.
or present value of money on it too.
Yep.
You know, so.
As that number increases over time, our levy will need to increase corresponding to that. So since we can only levy to recover the costs, we need to pay the costs up front from our general fund. So getting into the pay-as-you-go model isn't simple as just starting. We have to pay first and then levy to pay ourselves back, essentially. And so that's what Kara's talked about previously, about upfront costs from our general fund, which again is why it's crucial that we had a fund balance to do this with. If we were sitting like we were, you know, 4 or 5 years ago with a fund balance that was 1.8%, we would be in the red. We would be in SOD because we wouldn't have enough money to pay for this upfront. Because of the way our current debt is structured, there will be a large tax increase when we move to pay-as-you-go, which makes sense.
And theoretically every year after.
And theoretically every year after.
Because we're not even near the peak at this point. If we've got, what'd you say, 20, or was it was, how many people? 70.
Yeah.
70 people yet. So we could be 10 years from the peak here.
Right.
Or maybe more.
Right.
10 to 20, I would.
Right. Yeah, so doing nothing really is a bad, you know, it not only affects us, it affects our community, affects our taxpayers. I mentioned this earlier. It's a question we often get, why don't we just do this again? We can't. Second, even if it was legal, the interest we'd pay on bonds would be less than the interest we'd earn. So that financially it wouldn't be a wise move either. When we've talked about this and when we went through this with retirees, we talked about the importance of maintaining or improving retiree benefits. We have some obligations that we legally have to meet. But to Tom's point, really the only way that we can change this curve is to reduce our liability somehow. Another goal is to reduce community tax impact and district costs and also reduce volatility. Volatility is not good for us. Volatility is not good for our community. Volatility is not good for our retirees. We have spent some time looking at different options. One is defined contributions, whether that's to a plan, whether that's to a deductible. We also we've spent the most time after looking at options, looking at fully insured Medicare plans. These plans are in place for those individuals, or would be in place for those individuals for whom Medicare is primary. That under 65 group is just a different group, and so coming up with a way to really change their situation is more complicated. The reason this works is there's Medicare supplement funding that's available to offset the costs. We're currently not taking advantage of that. Currently, our high dollar insurance plan is being used as a Medicare supplement plan for our 65 and older retirees. The current actuarial valuation is less out of pocket for our retirees, again, because of the supplements that are available through the Medicare program. It would significantly reduce the district's liability, which in turn reduces the taxpayer liability as well. And I'm hesitating to throw a number out here because we're still working through. We just got new quotes, I think last week. So I'm hesitant to throw a number out here, but it's significant. Last thing I just wanted to share is to give an update on planning. In January through May, we went through this with the board and explored options. We met with the Fringe Committee in May. We met with retirees in this room on May 29th. I think we had 75 people here, which was great. We've been working to get quotes and bids. One of the things we heard from the group on May 29th is they really wanted us to get a quote from Health Partners because that's the provider that they're used to. And so it took quite a while for us to get that quote from them. But we do have finalized bids now from both Blue Cross and Health Partners. On Thursday this week, we're meeting with a subcommittee. We asked people on the 29th if they're interested in being part of the subcommittee to join us. And so on the 4th, we're going to meet with that group and review plans and options. So George, some of you familiar with him from One Digital, he's our insurance consultant. We'll be going over those plans. He's not affiliated. I know that comes up sometimes. He's not affiliated with either of these providers. It's not his job. His job is to advocate on the district's behalf, get us the best deal, and present that. So that's what we'll be doing on Thursday, just to bring that to that group. And then we have a special meeting of the Fringe Benefit Committee on the 18th. Ultimately, they have an important role of evaluating this. They represent their membership. And so we want to hear from them. And then on the 30th, we've scheduled a special workshop to consider options moving forward. And if we're at a place where we're able to move forward, we would want to do so in October because open enrollment for Medicare and those affiliated plans is in November. So if we are able to or want to or can move forward in November during that open enrollment plan timeline, we have to do this lift here over the next month. Early in October, make a decision so that people are able to plan, shop, do those things. But there's still some work to do, still some language to work through, and there's a path forward here. It's not perfectly clear yet, but this is where we're at in the process. And again, in the next 2 weeks, we should have more information. By the 30th for sure, the goal is to have something in front of you to discuss, talk through, answer questions so that you're able, if we're in that position, to make a decision in early October.
What would it take to make this change? Is it just a board action, or is there something else that needs to happen with the committee or the retirees?
Provided provided what we're proposing meets our legal obligations, it would be an action of the board.
Mr. Superintendent, I think I know the answer to this, but we've gotten quotes from Blue Cross and Health Partners. Are there other players out there that we should have heard from?
I don't know that I'm not sure that there's anybody else in this Medicare supplement space.
Okay.
So no, just those two at this point. And even with those two, and I won't go into details, but even within those two, there's quite a bit of difference in terms of cost between these two. So I don't know that it's a real crowded
Okay,
space.
thank you.
So right now, I believe we have to, by state law, we have to go out every 2 years, is that right? And requote our insurance. Would these OPEB benefits also fall under that if we were to make a change in a supplement where you've gotta continuously get it requoted? Would they fall under that statute, for lack of a better term?
I don't know the answer to that. I don't know if that applies to active employees only or retirees also. That'd be something we need to find out. It's a good question, Tom.
Okay, and then, our current insurance is, we really have we're self-insured, right?
Correct, yep.
And then we cover a gap or a
That's right.
high, is there any options in almost a hybrid form of that for these OPEB benefits in some way?
So both of these represent fully insured supplement plans. So it would be, that group would be moving out of our pool.
Okay, so they'd come out our pool on our self-insure
Yep.
for our quote.
That's
which
right.
I mean, I don't wanna sound wrong, but that's our higher risk. Obviously, it's gonna be our elderly, so it should help us from that standpoint also, potentially on
Yeah,
the backside, or,
It's complicated and nuanced because that group also has Medicare as a primary. So their healthcare costs, while maybe overall might seem like they'd be more, because they're offset by Medicare, it doesn't play out super clean that way. Yeah. Does that sound right? I never thought I would end up learning as much about insurance as I've had to as a superintendent, I can tell you that. Not that I know everything, or even a lot, just know what I've needed to know.
Which insurance agency do we use currently? Is it Blue Cross or?
Our actives are all with Health Partners and have been for quite some time. We had been with Blue Cross years and years ago, but have been with Health Partners for quite some time. Blue Cross has bid this business. Like Tom said, every 2 years, according to the Health Insurance Transparency Act, we have to go out for bids every 2 years. Blue Cross has bid the plans, I don't know, probably every year, among others.
Superintendent, gazing into the crystal ball, there's a lot of changes in Medicare
Yeah.
happening at the
Yeah.
federal level. Do we have any indication that might wrinkle our plans?
Yeah, I think that's a big question. Some of our retirees had that question. Entitlement programs haven't been a popular target of either political party, because I think they know that winning an election on that kind of campaign idea is not likely. So even the current presidential administration during their campaign expressed no interest in changing entitlement programs.
Okay.
So that's not a crystal ball. That's only knowing what I know up to today.
Yeah.
Economists that look at our budget deficit, some will say the only way you could really eliminate that is through these programs. But I'm not an economist either, but I know that that's a popular opinion.
Thank you.
It would take incredible political will to make that big of a change. That's all I have, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Julie, we're gonna close the workshop. Are you all set? Okay, workshop is closed. We'll reopen the board meeting in a minute or two. Okay. We'll call the board meeting to order. Please stand for the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. First item on the agenda is to welcome our new student board representatives. And you get a chance to hear from them toward the end of the meeting, but Aaron McMullen and Eva Rosinski, welcome, and thank you for being a part of this. Next item on the agenda is an approval of the agenda. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Dave, second.
Second.
Second by Ashley. Discussion? Hearing none. All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? The agenda is approved. Next item on the agenda is principal's report on the first day of school. And I'll let you guys kind of sort out what order you're going to take.
Rock, paper, scissors.
Thank you, Chair Schroeder, board members, Superintendent Gross, student reps. I'm excited to be up here on behalf of the Grand Rapids High School. Our first day of school looks a bit different than from some of the other sites. Today, we welcome back our new students, and particularly our freshman class. Our freshman class this year consists of 266 total students. We're a bit down from last year's graduating class. Our graduating class last year was quite large, 319 seniors. So we did have quite a difference between outgoing and incoming. We had 55 new students enroll into District 318 at the high school over the summer and most recently in these past couple of weeks. We do have 47 students leaving our district, so we did have a net gain there. We have 3 foreign exchange students, one from Germany, one from Belgium, and one from Brazil starting this fall, so very excited about that. Our freshman orientation and our new student day consists of about 50 student ambassadors in the upper grades that come back, and really takes a village to shepherd our incoming freshmen and our new students. But it's a really exciting day. We get a chance to get our students together for a General Assembly, get the freshmen out to the football field, Noble Hall Field, and take a great team photo while learning the school song to build that school spirit. A lot of activities throughout the day, including an activities fairs where students get to know some of the clubs and activities outside of our athletics programs. We're able to do some screening, meet some of our support staff, and end the day with a mini schedule. So it's a great start for our freshmen. We've been doing this for many years, and it's successful in terms of getting our students acclimated and excited about coming back to school tomorrow. So tomorrow we welcome the rest of our upperclassmen. Looking forward to seeing you both there tomorrow, and it should be a great day. So, any questions? All right. Thank you so much for your support.
Good evening. I'm Ken DeKoffstra, I'm the principal at Big Fork. I'm here to give the Big Fork report. As you all know, we're we're the K-12 campus in the district, so I get to see everybody from kindergartners all the way through seniors. And we had a really good start. And I say it every year, I think. There's a lot of planning that goes into a smooth start. And the calendar turns to August, and teachers start finding their way into the building. And custodians are doing summer projects, and they're always sure to get the building ready to roll for the first day. We had some new teachers. 3 new teachers in the building this year, all pretty new to teaching. You know, a little bit of experience behind them, but not a ton. And I got an opportunity to check in on them today as we had all of our students back. Some kindergarten students, we do a tiered start for kindergarten, but 1st through 12, we're all there. Got to check in with those new staff members, and they still had smiles on their face at the end of the day, so that was good. It was nice to see our staff making themselves visible in the commons right away this morning. And then again, at the end of the day, you know, as the buses were leaving, there were people in the commons, they're smiling. Got the first day under their belt. Our first day schedule runs a little bit differently, so we can get a lot done. I get the opportunity to meet with all of the 7th through 12th grade at once, and we go through a few reminders and a welcome back, and then I do the same with our elementary students about a half an hour later. And the day flowed very well. A lot of work from teachers, from our leadership team. Sometimes things go well, but sometimes it can feel flat, or sometimes it feels super energetic. Most of the time, the first day of school, there's a pretty good vibe. Today was not an exception to that. Great vibe. I had a staff member ask me at the end of the day, how did things feel to you today? I said, they felt really good to me. How about you? And she said the same. Students were excited to be there. Even had high school students tell me that they were excited to be back, and that's always nice. We have 2 foreign exchange students in the building as well, and I got a couple of opportunities to check in with them, and they were doing well, and a few other new students, and it was nice to see them finding their way around, getting help with their locker. Pretty soon they're helping somebody else with their locker, those kinds of things. So just to see that vibe back and forth was really good. We also have a new head volleyball coach and a new head football coach this fall, and those seasons are off to a great start. Their numbers are looking solid, and I got a chance to talk to both of those coaches today and wish them well. Sounds like things have been going well the last week or so with them. So it was a great day overall. I had good feeling from staff last week in the workshop days. Board Member Gustafson and Superintendent Gross were at the open house last week and made their way through the building a little bit before our Big Fork advisory meeting, and that was appreciated to see them interacting with staff and getting a feel for things as well. So things are off to a good start. Any questions? Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Hi, everybody. Good evening. My name is Ryan Siegley. I'm the principal at Cohasset Elementary, and I am representing the elementary schools this evening. I remember standing here last year about the same time and talking about all the change that was happening. So many teachers moving from one building to another, kids moving from one building to another. And I'm happy to report that we don't have as much new happening this year. Obviously, we do have new, and there's lots to learn along the way. But I think, talking about each one of our 3 elementaries kind of in town here at Cohasset East and West, things felt a little more routine probably this year than it did last year at this time. There's a few things that really stood out to me today. For our kids, our students, routine, smiles, and belonging. I mean, that's really the key to this first week in our elementary schools. Building routines. It's practicing, it's modeling, it's reteaching, it's practicing again, getting kids acclimated back to doing school. I saw a lot of smiles today. Kids greeting each other, seeing each other. They haven't seen people for the whole summer, whether it's a friend or a staff member. And that led me into the thinking of one of our strategic directions of belonging. And there was a lot of kids that I could tell felt like they were at home today, and that was a big deal. And that's what we want. Our staff has been working incredibly hard. Last week was really the first official week back, and as Mr. DeCoster alluded to, for a lot of people, it wasn't the first week back. It was just our official first week back. And going into classrooms, I think you'd be amazed at the amount of work that happens prior to those kids coming. And teachers take a lot of pride in having things ready to go when those families come for open house. And this year it wasn't any different. Growth was another thing that I've noticed with our staff. There's been some work that's been happening kind of in the background with staff getting ready for the year, trying to achieve some of the goals that we've set out for the year in trainings that have helped them do that. Staff meetings last week that got us queued up and ready to go. And the last word that I thought of with our staff was enthusiasm. People were fired up and ready. There's been several conversations of not a lot of sleep the last few nights, of people being anxious and anticipating. And I have a feeling we're going to have a lot of staff members sleeping well tonight because they put in a good, hard day of work. And then our families. One of the things that stood out to me today was welcoming some of our kindergarten students and their families to our school at Cohasset. And I just think about how they entrust us with their kids and what a big deal that is. And you watch those 5-year-olds walk off with their kindergarten teacher for the very first time, and the families stay there and they watch their kid walk away, and it can get to be kind of an emotional time for them because it's a big change in the lives of those kids. And so it's just, for me, it was a reminder. It was kind of a goosebumps moment of just how important our partnerships are with our families. And we really value them. And we also want them to understand how much we care about them and their kids. And so we've got a lot of work to do this year. And I think we started on the right note. So any questions? Thank you.
Thanks, Ryan.
Good evening, and thank you for the chance to share. I want to start out with the heavy lift it takes to open these buildings and the incredible amount of effort it takes, whether it's instructional staff, custodial staff, our paras. We'll talk about the parking lot in a minute because that seems to be the hot topic. But again, I just want to go back to how many people it takes to get that building opened up, and it was an amazing start with the parking lot to start and with the parking lot to close. But what happened in the hallways was incredible. As you know, we have a new class called Agricultural Sciences, and a lot of talk about that in the 7th grade. And it's not like a new position, it's a position that morphed from a previous position. And we're really excited about that, and there's a lot of energy around that. And some parents who went in there last week during open house were just like, with all the reductions and cuts we've had over the last how many years, this was really nice to see. And then again, it's not a new position, it's just a different position. So again, thanks to the RGEMS team for everything. Parking lot improvements. I just want to say thank you to Ann Campbell, Safe Routes to School, Matt Gross, the superintendent, and the board for supporting this. When you look at going back with the consultant, Joe Palava, and how far back this went, to see it unfurl, and it didn't always seem that way. A couple weeks ago, we had 6th grade band camp. We received some phone calls that were like, Adams, this isn't working. And I'm just like, oh my God, we haven't even started school yet. And it was 6th grade band camp. That's not a lot. Today was amazing, and messaging and everything, it went out very positive, and I would say it far exceeded expectations. I'm gonna read a very short email that would make every one of you feel good because it's addressed to all of you pretty much. Good morning, I just wanted to send a quick note of thanks. As a parent who dropped off a 6th grader this morning, and I also dropped off a 6th grader 4 years ago, the experience was above and beyond safer and more organized than it had been in the past. As a parent, I am appreciative of a school district that prioritizes student safety. It was a relief this morning not to worry about my daughter's walk from the car to the entrance of the school. Wishing you a wonderful school year. That just says a ton, because the messaging that came from Matt, that came from all of us, was this is not a convenient thing. This is a safety thing. And it was amazing. Matt was there at the end of the day, the beginning of the day, he got to see it. Ashley, as the board rep, was at our building today, and we talked about it a lot, and it was spectacular. I don't know how to put it any other way. It went very well. I wanted to share a few things because as the summer went on, and Darren talked about it a little bit at the high school too, numbers came in pretty good today. So our enrollment as of today, we had 285 kids, roughly. I always say ish, because if I say 284, someone's going to correct me and say, well, it was 286. So 285-ish. 7th grade was 310, and 8th grade was 290. And it looked different earlier in the summer because there's a lot of jostling that goes around. But when it comes down to it, we have a really good system. And some parents, you know, it's like they want to see more programming or more opportunities for kids. Well, if that's the case, they're going to put them in Grand Rapids, and that's what we saw. So our numbers came in pretty good. We feel good about that overall. It's 880-ish. And it was a great start at the middle school. Any questions? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Adams.
Thank you.
Good evening. Thank you for allowing us the chance to speak. Andy Forbort, Assistant Principal, Grand Rapids High School, formerly the ALC Principal, but now serving as the 612 Grava, or Grand Rapids Area Virtual Academy Principal. So we also kicked off the school year today. Excited to say that numbers were looking okay over summer, but now we're sitting at 45 students, K-12, 40 of which are 612. There's been some hiccups, there's been some issues, and kind of the two words that I've been emphasizing with families is patience and grace, and they've responded really well. Today I'd email 11 families because their students aren't in the system to be able to assign them classes right now. We're having some issues with technology that people are working through behind the scenes, and parents and families are being patient. So we're gonna get there. We're gonna learn a lot this year. Not my personality, not have all the answers, to not know what I don't know, but that's kind of the attitude that we're all taking with this, is we're gonna learn a lot along the way. Very fortunate to have Mr. Gross part of the conversations, Anna Lloyd, Zach Erickson, just people involved right away, just saying, this is here, we're doing it, let's go, and now let's make sure we do it right. Mr. Hofstad's been very graceful with me. He'd come to me this summer and be like, hey, can you? He goes, never mind, you can tell you're into Grava. And so we're just kind of balancing that as well. But excited, we'll get there, and it's going to be an awesome opportunity. I'm excited to say that I think we have 2 students from our building that we had in person last year that are now converted. Everybody else is families and students that we've recaptured back to our district, our program. A lot of it for their eligibility to be into activities and athletics. A lot of them excited just to be part of the district still, and then ultimately graduate with us. Families are very, very thankful for the district providing the opportunity. So, questions, Grava?
I did have a couple. Now, this being asynchronous, everybody was starting today, though, correct?
Classes began today. So
Okay,
whether
so-
they started at
but-
7 in the morning or they're doing them at 5 at
From
night.
now on, they can just kind of,
So
log
from now
on if
until
they
the end of
want.
our semester, they can complete the coursework. Yep.
Okay. And did I hear right? We're sitting at 45. We had 46 through 12. Is that
Correct.
right? So we had 5. First
5
grade,
elementary,
5
K-5.
elementary. Do you have a kind of a breakdown of how young did we go? They
For
are?
elementary, I want to say there's a kindergartner, a
There-
3rd, 4th, 5th, like one mouse at every grade.
Yeah. So we're
And we're half and
Kinda
half,
across the
6,
board
8 to
there on
9,
that.
12.
okay.
So,
Okay. Thank you.
yeah, you're welcome. Other questions?
Just real quick, I don't know if this was anything that had been discussed yet, but with the students with Grava, are they going to have an opportunity to be involved in any kind of social activities, as far as maybe getting together at any point in time to be outside of that online system?
I know at the elementary level, Clayton Linder has talked about creating some of those social opportunities just so kids can have a chance to connect.
Yep.
For our high school kids, I think them being able to join activities and sports, most of them are. So they are getting some of that social acclimation.
So the high school students will still be able to, like, if they wanted to go to the dance or something? they'll
Correct.
Still have that?
Yep, they're still eligible to come to all our activities, just like homeschool students could do already. So yeah, that's why we're recapturing a lot of students from Minnesota Virtual Academy, Minnesota Connections Academy. They're like, oh, you can come to the district and be part of it. Yeah, well, that's no brainer. So yeah, it's been a good selling point. And we also have a handful of students that are doing a class in person. Middle school has a couple kids in band that come every day for band. High school, we have students in welding class. So experiences they couldn't get online, they can give them in person for 1 hour a day. So, yeah.
Sorry, that prompted a question. Now, they can identify as either attending Big Fork or Grand Rapids, is that correct? Through this, or
So
actually through diploma, or, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Yep, so we're implementing our same graduation standards. I just brought Mr. DeCoster 2 iPads for 2 Big Fork students that have joined recently.
Okay.
So we're taking care of them, and then the family can ultimately decide, yep, we're graduating from Big Fork or we're graduating from Grand Rapids.
Okay, so we do have some identified from choosing Big Fork, it sounds like.
We have students that were attending Big Fork, and then maybe they're currently online with a different program that are coming back to us.
Okay.
And then maybe we have a student that was at Big Fork that now is going online.
Okay, and then when you talk about the invitations extended for things, there, whatever school it is, that's what they would get invited to, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Andy.
All right, thank you all.
Thank you.
All right. Move that down. My name is Anna Lloyd. I am here representing the Area Learning Center today as their principal. Our first day looks a little bit different. We know certain groups in our system need a little extra care. So much like kindergarten, much like the freshmen, we do a bit of a soft start at ALC. We bring kids in small groups, and we give them an orientation, walk them through the program, what to expect. And we also work on a personalized learning plan. So we really sit down with them, their parents, whoever's with them. Sometimes that's a social worker, sometimes that's a probation officer. But we sit down with them, we review their credits, and we make a personalized path to graduation. And this is a really important start for this group of kids. It really gets the tone set that they're gonna get the one-on-one attention that they need, and find their footing and find a clear path forward. And really, our intention is just to give them hope for their future, even though they may have some barriers that have impacted their path in the past. So on top of that, we also really take time to listen to the families during this time. We ask questions, we engage, we wanna know our kids' circumstances on a deeper level, and that helps us really address the unique needs that some of our students come in with. So some of those might be housing instability, food insecurity, credit deficiency. Some are providing care to siblings, or providing for the household and need to work extra jobs or more jobs than we would expect for a high school student. Some have some issues or past run-ins with the justice system that we need to work through. So once we can identify those needs, we can get them connected to the support within our system that they need, whether that's mental health, access to our student support specialist, and also really looking at how do we wrap care with the outside agencies that might be involved with them as well. So that's kind of what we're doing this week, is really just getting to know our kids and getting those relationships and services established right away. Our next steps over the next couple weeks are going to be really ensuring that students get started on their full week next week, and that we really build on those relationships and create an environment that's supportive and really engaging for these kids, and hoping to pull them back into the fold and make school a place where they feel like they belong and like they can be successful. A key part of this plan is we're gonna start benchmark testing at our Area Learning Center. This hasn't been something that we've done in the past, and there's been a lot of barriers to it, all the way from how students get enrolled in the Area Learning Center. But I think we've overcome all those hurdles, and we're gonna benchmark test starting on September 15th. And that's gonna really help us, that will give us the information that we need to build a really responsive educational system. We wanna be sure that not only are we providing support and care for all the factors outside of school, but they're also getting their unique learning needs attended to as well. So based on that benchmark data, we can set up the system to ensure students get the interventions that they need. So again, we just want our students to really leave this week feeling like our focus is on them as an individual and whole child, whole student. And we look forward to starting and raring to go next week. I feel like just because I'm up here, I have to speak on behalf of special ed too. So I'm also the special services director. And, I just want to say our staff, we ended the school year last year on a Friday, and I had 6 or 7 staff in the administration building working on new projects for the upcoming year the following Monday. So, just if that speaks to the dedication of the staff. I didn't have a lull in the summer. They were calling, they were trying to figure things out for their students. They were working hard to, I had so many people just say to me, I just want to be better for my students next year. They need this from me, so I'm going to figure that piece out. And Ashley got a little glimpse behind the curtain this year at ESY, what it takes to pull off a school year for over 900 individualized learning plans. But just so you know, we have, so many people to thank, from the teachers to the ESPs to the principals that have supported so much of that planning. Also, Darren Cherney, the transportation department, Greg. Those two are probably sick of me. Same with technology. If they get one more call from me going, but what if we did this? And I know we've never done it before, but what if? I think they're all very patient and very willing to jump in and help out and ensure that all of our students get their needs met. So it's been a great start on both fronts. So thank you.
Thank you, Anna.
Anna, how many students do we have with ALC?
With ALC, we start with approximately 100 slots. So those are full-time slots. Now, depending on a student's need, they can be split in half or split partially, and we can kind of get 2 students into 1 slot, depending on what they're coming in with and how many credits they need to progress towards graduation. Now, as kids graduate, you'll see that ALC number look different as the year goes on, because that's,
Right.
it's kind of always a little bit in flux, but as kids graduate, it'll go up over the course of the year.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
And
Any
Anna,
other questions?
Our ALC students don't, I don't know how to say it, they aren't graduating at the end of a normal school year. They can graduate at any point in time.
Yep, it's a
throughout the regular
rolling
school year, right?
rolling start and rolling graduation. So we have kids kind of coming and finishing at all times, which is really exciting and fun. And also another thing to note is that we take kids from all of the area schools. So, and that includes like our IASC 7 district group, but also outside of that, we've had kids from Hibbing, we've had kids from Cook, we've had kids kind of from all over. And they can graduate from their home district. So we still get them, we're generating the revenue for them under the umbrella. They're our student, but they can graduate from their home district. So, yeah. Any other questions? No? Okay.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is to approve the minutes of the 8/25/25 regular school board meeting. Do I have a motion?
Moved.
Moved by Ashley, second.
Second, David.
Second by David. Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Minutes are approved. Next item on the agenda is a consent agenda, and reminder that these are routine items that do not require discussion. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved, David.
Moved by David, second.
Second.
Second by Ashley. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Consent agenda is approved. Next item on the agenda, Casey, approved permission to post part-time Indian Ed cultural advocate.
Good evening, board. Before you have a request to post a part-time Indian Ed cultural advocate. Big Fork has not had an advocate up there for about 3 years. So there has been some additional money left in state and federal over the years and we're hoping to use that up with this position. They currently have between 15 and 20 students up there that are American Indian Ed. I'm requesting permission to post. It would be a 3-day per week position in Big Fork.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Ashley, a second.
Second, David.
Second by David, discussion. Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Permission to post is approved. Next item on the agenda, information only band booster uniform and equipment lease agreement. Kara?
Good evening. I apologize, I didn't realize I was speaking. I just wanted you to have the thank you from the Community Foundation. In 2019, the district renewed an agreement with the band boosters, and we contribute $13,000 to the Community Foundation for equipment for the band and uniforms for the band. So we received the thank you note, and I wanted to pass it on to you.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda, Superintendent Gross approve the second reading policy 403.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. In your packet, you have policy 403. As I referenced last time, this policy has some clarification around what distinguishes administrative action from the disciplinary action. We added some consistency in language so it's clear and practice, and the language in our policy is uniform. We clarified a process that we will use in a traditional or in a typical situation, moving from one action to the next, but also retaining the ability to implement the action that administration deems necessary. And we added a section in there regarding an employee's request to remove a letter from their file. That's a question that we've gotten in the past. As I said before, a lot of work went into this policy, including review by employees, and I would recommend, and it comes with the recommendation of the Policy Review Committee. I'd recommend approval.
Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Moved by Ashley, second.
Second.
Second by Dave, discussion. Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Policy 403 is approved. Next item on the agenda, accept second reading, approve policy 412.
This policy also comes with the recommendation of the Policy Review Committee. As I mentioned last time, it updates our expense reimbursement based on our research. We hadn't made an adjustment in 17 years, and so it's definitely due. We've established that reimbursement based on the United States General Service Administration's meal and expense standard rates. So now we have a standard by which we can defer back to in our policy. I'd recommend approval.
Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Moved by Dave, second.
Second, David.
Second by David, discussion. Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Policy 412 is approved. Next item on the agenda, accept second reading, approve policy 534. Superintendent Gross.
Again, with the recommendation of the Policy Review Committee, this policy made some changes regarding second breakfast and lunch, the notification for delinquent balances and how the district's going to handle those, and reorganized the policy to align more closely with how the MSBA model policy is organized. I'd recommend approval.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Ashley, a second.
Second.
Second by Dave, discussion. Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Policy 534 is approved. Next item on the agenda, board reports. Aaron and Eva, do you want to start off?
So today the freshmen started at school. They had their orientation and tour. They spent the afternoon going through mock schedules, meeting their teachers, and finding their classrooms. They also learned how to get into their lockers, but usually the high schoolers don't use those. There were upperclassmen student ambassadors, as Mr. Hoff said, talk about, and they gave tours, helped answer questions to all the students, and kind of brought them around. They also had an activities fair in the gym, and students got to see what new clubs and opportunities our high school has to offer. We secured a date for our fall homecoming. This is September 20th. It's kind of soon, but we found a date that would make it easiest for all the students to go to. This isn't the same week as homecoming week. That'll be still scheduled for October. The most recent game for volleyball was against Marshall. They won, and they have a game this Thursday against Denfeld. They also have an invitational tournament this weekend. Football's also had a successful season so far. They won their first game last Friday against Cloquet, and they have a game upcoming against Bemidji this Friday. They started this new kind of reward task where they do the champion belt, and so they award it every practice mostly or game, and it goes to a player who's just exceeded expectations, whether that be like as a teammate, with leadership, or just their overall abilities in practice or the game.
Then this Wednesday, Rapids Rising is hosting their community kickoff event. It's an event for all community members to celebrate the beginning of the school year and learn about their role in supporting youth alcohol and drug prevention. Then boys soccer's had 3 games so far this season. They've won 1 and lost 2, and then they're in Bemidji today. Girls soccer's had a game with Two Harbors last Tuesday, and then a game with Marshall last Thursday. Girls tennis had a match here versus North Branch in Hermantown last Tuesday, and then they have a match here on Thursday versus Marshall. Cross country had a meet last Thursday, and then they have a meet here this Thursday at Eagle Ridge. Marching bands had a pretty eventful summer so far. We won best marching entry in Tall Timber Days. We did fill the hill, and then the first workshop day we performed our show. What is it this year? I'm blanking. Between the Lines. And then a couple of students spoke to the staff members about their experiences. And then our first competition is on Saturday down in Eden Prairie and Eastview. And then girls swimming has had a successful start to the year. They've had 2 meets, and most people have dropped time between the 2 of them. They won the first one and lost the second one.
Thank you, nice report. Ashley?
It has been an eventful 2 weeks, if you will. Let's see, we just discussed what we went over in the policy review committee, and that's been one of the only meetings that I've been available to go to because I was prepping myself to take on my new position through AmeriCorps at our GEMS building. I've also been able to be in the RGEMS building to help teachers get prepared and ready to go as well. Our PTSA provided school supplies for our staff this year. So it was a mixture of color-coded folders, as our 6th grade unit is color-coding their language arts, science, math departments. And they have pencils on a subscription order through Amazon, I might add. So they will never run out of sharpened pencils with decent erasers, hopefully for this whole entire school year. And then, let's see, today I was able to be at the middle school for the first day. And it, as we heard from Mr. Adams, went pretty well, pretty smooth. I feel like that parking lot situation was a breeze, but now that we've made eye contact with it and are talking about it, we'll see how the rest of the week goes, but hopefully it stays that way. We had our 6th grade new students in, and as I had to remind some of them, in my older age now, I still have nightmares about not being able to get my locker open. So you will be okay. We'll get you through it. Your teachers are very gracious in this point in time, so That was the biggest stressor that we had for some of our kids, was just getting into the lockers and trying to move past those emotions. And we're still learning, and we're giving all those kids grace. But beyond that, 7th and 8th graders were just kind of trucking along, doing their thing, and we'll go back tomorrow and we'll do it all over again. So it was good.
Sweet. David? Aaron and Ava, thank you. Great reports, very much appreciated. I joined Ashley in policy meeting as we heard policy reports out tonight. The Boys and Girls Club had a golf fundraiser last week and raised several $1,000s to support our Boys and Girls Club, which is really critical, especially for some of our younger students. The endowment committee is facing some challenges. There's been withdrawal of some federal funding, particularly for mileage on travel expenses. So some of our projects are kind of coming up short, and that's a real challenge. I had the opportunity to visit open house at East and West Elementary, and Mark and I had the opportunity to greet the little ones at West Elementary today. What a great spirit. It's so exciting to see the energy of our students, the positive attitudes of our staff throughout. It's really, it's encouraging. It's great. This is the business that we're in. It's great to see students back in the building, but there's such great positive energy.
Thank you. Dave?
All right. Last Tuesday, I attended the back-to-school kickoff for staff at Noble Hall Field and the Rife Center. I thought the marching band did a great job, not only in performing their show, but in the wisdom shared by several student speakers. The focus from the band was that they work hard to make excellence normal, and I think that resonated very well. Special recognition to those 3 student speakers, Ben Schroeder, Aaron McMullen, and Malachi Casper, who shared their personal perspectives on hard work and the great teachers who continue to make a positive impact in their lives. And then afterwards, I just wanted to say thank you to Superintendent Gross. He shared a welcome back message with staff that resonated very well with me, and I hope with the rest of the staff. It was a lot of, I'm not sure of the terms, but a lot of, what's the study of rocks? Geology, sorry. More than I ever thought I would hear that day, but it was still fascinating. Last Thursday, I attended the back to school open house at East Rapids. Also, lots of smiles and curiosity as the kids and parents came in to explore the school. And it was great to interact with members of the community and our incredible staff. And then this morning, I was back at East Rapids welcoming the kids to their first day of school. Lots and lots of smiles and a great way to start the school year. One cool thing I wanted to mention is that the similarity of our elementary school buildings was on show. I overheard a dad saying to his daughter, don't worry, honey, this school is laid out just like your old school was last year. And so that just breeds some familiarity and reduces some of the scariness of going to 3rd grade. So very cool experience this morning. That's all I had.
Thank you. Tom?
So last week we had the open house up in Big Fork. Was able to participate in that and walk around the classrooms. And as I've heard a number of people mention, it is quite a experience for me and how personal those rooms are. And sometimes you kind of, I'd peek my nose in and I wasn't quite sure if it was a classroom or if it was another type of a space there for something else. But some people definitely put some time into that and really appreciate that. There's none of that institutional feeling in that at all. We did have our advisory group meeting after that. That ran well. It was well attended and very active group there. And we ran a little later there than usual. I was scheduled for that first RAMS meeting. I've been receiving the meeting invites now, so thanks Julie for getting that going. I wasn't able to sit in on that first one because it was during the Big Fork meeting, but I will be able to go to the rest of those from then on. This morning I was at the Cohasset school there as they started up. Again, very similar experience to what everyone else said here. Teachers were really excited. A lot of kids very excited to see teachers, which is nice to see, right? They haven't seen them in a few months, and it really is interesting how much part of their lives they all are with each other for both sides, right? Well, I was late walking in here right last minute because I was at my grandson's football game there. So the sports stuff's starting and it's fun and it's exciting and I'm looking forward to all those types of things. So, thank you.
Thanks, Tom. I guess a couple of the things I attended have been mentioned previously. David and I were at West Elementary this morning, and I did attend. Dave and I were at the welcome back to the staff. It was really fun to watch the kindergartners come in this morning. That's kind of a highlight every year. Other than that, I did participate in negotiations with one of our units, and we're working at that. So with that, Superintendent Gross.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. It really is a great time of year. Going back last week, I appreciated our marching band too, and it's something I've asked them to do a number of the last 5 years, and it's always fresh and always good and a good way to get things moving. And so I appreciate their willingness to come in early. I know their practice is usually much later in the day, but some of them said it was nice to get it out of the way too. So, the ability to just see all the staff back together, the teachers back in the room, is always fun. Something that struck me during open houses and then today, and that I spoke about during that kickoff was, these 3 words that we've been talking about and that are in our logo, that middle one, readiness. And as I was in, open house rooms last week, and as I was in many schools today, the degree to which our staff were ready for kids was evident. The kids walked into a room that they knew was ready for them. There were name tags set up. There was cute stuff set out. They knew that their teachers had prepared for them to be there, and that brings a sense of stability for our students. And so I'm really appreciative of that. I could feel it in the buildings, and just also how quickly our teachers were moving into developing the routines that are really important for kids too. So just really, really impressed and proud of that work. Tom mentioned the Big Fork School Advisory Committee. We spent quite a bit of time talking about the budget, and that's been a question that they've had for some time. And it was really good to work through questions with them, questions that have been up in the community. They did a great job sharing those. And I think we were able to really process through a number of conceptions, misconceptions, and I think that'll help with communication there. So that was really good. The parking thing at our GEMS has been brought up a lot, and I don't know, probably not too much because it was kind of a big deal. I do want to thank some people that were really helpful in that. ICTV as a partner coming in, shooting that video for us to demonstrate, this is how this is supposed to work. Our principals, Dan and Ryan there, the communication and the, kind of things behind the scenes to make that happen. Our paras did a great job this morning with traffic and being, patient as people were working through this. Ann Campbell with all the hustle on that grant. She was out there this morning and this afternoon too. She doesn't stop. She's like the Energizer Bunny. That might be something that people don't know anymore either, Dan. I don't know. But the city's been a great partner in the project, and so I think that's good. Our parents, I just sent a follow-up message tonight to them. They did such a great job this morning having patience, adjusting to new, and things were like eerily good this morning. Just the first time, and things take longer because everybody wants to take a picture of their kid as they're going to school like they should. But even though there were delays with new, things went really smooth. And there are things we're going to fix and make better for sure. And this afternoon, waiting for the other shoe to drop maybe, it didn't. There were some things again that we'll tweak and make sure we do better, but overall it was really positive. It was a huge change for people, and I just am really pleased with how well our parents did making that adjustment. Schwartz did a great job on the project. They also came through huge with making sure those gates were complete. They donated those gates to us, which was amazing, and they got installed before today. So that was really, really cool. I wasn't expecting that to happen, and so big hats off to them. Woodset did a great job. Our staff had to some of them had to park in a different place. Melanie did a great job in communications too. So a lot of people, I'm sure I'm leaving people out, but just a lot of people came together to make that project happen, to get the money to pay for it, and then to see it happen and then make things go. And again, it's not perfect. It's better, and we'll keep getting better. So really, really good. Another group I want to just call out, our transportation group. They've been short-staffed for the last month. Short drivers, shorter router. They've been getting transportation requests up through last week, working hard to get those set up. And it's really tough because people, don't always get those in a timely way, and then they want that transportation to go into effect immediately. And it just doesn't, it's not that simple when you have 50-some routes and a lot to figure out, and we had some staffing changes that occurred late. And so that team did a great job. And, even this morning at the transfer island, there are a lot of kids that are switching buses. And some of those kids have never done that before. And they get off a bus, and they're supposed to find another bus, and to see the care that our drivers were giving, to see the care that our pairs were giving, to make sure those kids got to the right place was really, really good. Really, really heartwarming, and made me really, really, really proud. I noticed that, in the buildings today just how clean and put together they looked. And so hats off to custodians, and a lot of work behind the scenes by our principals too. So just really good work by folks. Our MCA data came out late last week, and science is still behind. That's not unexpected. Overall, our district was up based on what I saw, 2% in reading and math. We saw pockets of improvement, pockets where we need more work. One thing that I think we can say with certainty is where we have high degree of implementation fidelity and a high degree of ownership, we have significant result change, right? It's not a surprise, but I think those are things that we can build off of. When we do what we know, if we do what we know works, we do that with fidelity, and create some accountability and support systems, we see the change we want. So there's definitely some things that we can build on, some places that we need improvement on. I think science is going to be, we've had a lot of focus on language arts, and now we need to keep that ball in the air while we focus on math. We need to keep that ball in the air while we focus on science, but we're going to see some results in science that need some attention. The last thing I just want to mention, September is School Board Appreciation Month, and I just want to thank our board. I feel like we have a board right now that approaches this work with seriousness, with curiosity, with integrity, concerned about our staff, concerned about our children, concerned about our community. And I know in talking to other superintendents how challenging it is to have a board that doesn't work well together, or doesn't keep in mind what it is that our goal is all about, what the work is all about. And so I really want to give my hats off to you. Our community is better because people like you are willing to give up time, give up energy, give up evenings to do this work. And it's not, there have been much, much easier time periods to be school board members than now. So you're doing really good work, really hard work at a really, really hard time to be a school board member. So thank you for that. That's all I have, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Reminder, upcoming school board committee meetings and meeting dates are posted on each agenda. School board meeting agendas can be found on the district website and at the designated posting site at the ISD 318 Ed Services Center. Is there any other business to come before the board?
Mr. Chair, can I make one quick comment?
Yep.
I forgot to mention during my report that there is somebody at this table that has a birthday today. I just wanted to say happy birthday to Superintendent Gross.
Oh, happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
What a better way to spend it than the first day of school. Thank you.
Julie, has anyone signed up for public input?
No, they have not.
Meeting's adjourned.
Mark, thank you.